Hey, good morning, and welcome to Coffee with John. Again, part 4 of part 5 with Scott Silverman, author of The Opioid Epidemic, crisis coach, family navigator. Scott, it's been really enlightening talking to you all week, and I'm looking forward to today's conversation. You know, we've been talking about the opioid epidemic and all the work that you're doing, and today we're going to talk about the community's responsibility. What is the community's responsibility for taking action, for raising awareness? I know you sent a book to every governor in to talk about the community interaction that needs to take place.
Well, again, good morning, John. You know, when I got up, I told you I reprogrammed my coffee maker, so I have some coffee today. It'll be different doing this, even for a few minutes with caffeine.
Yeah,
I think my belief is, and my experience is, that if the community, and you know, we can certainly break down what that looks like, but the euphemistic community, you know, there's a concept, you know, it takes a village, but the community must take this responsibility on. And I mean that in a way that, not to say that it's not the government's job or law enforcement or criminal justice or the treatment world, but individuals, I mean, parents, people who have had this experience, people who understand it, people who don't understand it need to get involved. This is something that's taking lives at such a rapid rate right now that if the community doesn't embrace this to be as important as, you know, street lights working, as keeping the lights on, as avoiding any other crisis, because this one is not only a deep crisis, but it impacts everybody.
But where does it start? When, you know, we say community, does it start in the home? Does it start with where does it start? How does somebody even begin to make it a community thing?
Well, when you look at the landscape of what's actually taking place, you know, we're losing children. Okay. So I would say that the parent, the head of the household, the person who's responsible, whatever that might be defined as, or co-members of the family, you know, the nuclear family, the family who sees their children every day, sends them off to school, they're going to be the ones that really have to take the leadership role. And what their exact definition of their duties will be, in my opinion, is to start the conversation, to help educate and prevent, and also inform. Now, if they're not educated, their job is to get educated, and being educated, they can help then navigate with me, if you will, how to get to the next steps. What should the schools be doing? What's the Board of Education responsible for? How are the teachers going to be involved? What about the PTA? Yeah. What about the service groups in the community? How can they get involved, stay involved, and make this as important as having a good breakfast every day?
Yeah. Okay, good. I love that. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you enlightening every single day a little bit more about what we should do, and what the community and the responsibility and how we can raise our awareness and just do our small part. I want to talk about your book for a minute. You know, the book is available on your website, yourcrisiscoach.com. It's available on Amazon. The Opioid Epidemic, What You Don't Know Will Destroy Your Family and Your Life. Who's the ideal person to read this book?
Again, I think the community will start with the family, the parents. You know, there's 3 chapters dedicated to just teaching parents how to ask the questions, how to start the conversation. More importantly, how to listen while they're having the conversation, and also the tools necessary to help navigate next steps. Also identifiers, what's going on with the child's behavior, the weight loss, weight gain, behavioral changes, isolation, the friends they're hanging out with, listening to the conversations, the questions they're asking, the things that they're doing, and just a heightened awareness. I mean, why is this important? Well, think about it. If and when you've ever taught your child how to drive a car, you didn't give them the keys and say, okay, go learn how to drive. You sat with them, you guided them, you probably irritated them. They probably got frustrated with you. It's the same thing. Or teaching a child how to speak a language or learn the alphabet. We're talking about something that if they make a wrong decision or an uninformed decision, they're going to potentially die. That's how important this is for parents to take that leadership role. Again, I would suggest nobody waits for their community outside of the family, the teachers, I mean, the law enforcement, again, the criminal justice system. Don't wait for them to send a flyer out, because even if they do, most people aren't going to read it. So take a step forward and be aggressive about it, and just check in and listen and build awareness yourself first, and then share it with your children and other family members.
Sorry. Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now? Sorry.
Yeah.
So really, in a way, it's like a parenting book, right? I mean,
It is.
as a parent, we never know if our children are going to be in this situation. So we need to arm ourselves. We need to be prepared, and we need to educate ourselves.
Let me interrupt for a second. I want to point something out. Every child is going to be in this situation, not because they've maybe put themselves there, but because they're going to be with one of their contemporaries, one of their buddies, one of their school friends, one of their college friends, one of their, neighborhood buddies. And this is going to come up. It's coming up everywhere right now. Kids are curious, and it's on the news very infrequently, but when it does erupt, it's usually a very hard piece of information to hear. So I guarantee you, based on the current tsunami that we're in, everyone's going to get exposed to this one way or another. But being informed, it's almost like driving a car and knowing that people are impaired behind the wheel. So your level of awareness is higher. The difference is a 12-year-old doesn't have that awareness yet. An 8-year-old is watching their older sibling do things, and they want to be like them. So that's how dangerous this is, and how important the book is, talking to your kids. And by the way, when I say community as well, and the reason I sent the book to the governors, legislative leaders have a responsibility, and they're paid. Part of their salary is to be, take a leadership role and help. We have to reverse engineer, as you've said, how we think about this. Because if we don't, we're going to go to funerals and we're going to be crying every day when we experience this kind of loss. Because right now the data is there. We're losing a plane load of people, children, teens, family members every single day.
That's horrific. How many governors have you heard from thus far?
It's been 2 weeks, and I'm sad to say 0. And I'm hopeful because things move slowly. But you know what? I'm going to give them all till June, and then at some point I'm either going to follow up with them, or I'm just going to have a press conference. Because you know what? I'm not relying on them. I'm investing a book to them and my time to get it to them, hoping somebody on their team will pick it up and go, what can we do? Because this has to be a national effort. This can't just be something that Scott Silverman does in San Diego and does it on his own. This has to be something that we have to take care of, because we've talked about it. 90,000 people died last year. And we know that the number is much higher, closer to 500,000, because that miracle drug Narcan saved lives. So if we don't do something a year from now, you and I will be talking about this, and we will have lost 500,000 kids and maybe more.
Those are horrific numbers.
And they're not mine, by the way. They're the CDC's.
No.
They're the government's numbers. I don't make these things up, and I'm not trying to scare anybody. But if that's what it takes to wake some people up to look at the reality of what's happening right now, this is going to be worse than COVID. It is right now in many different ways, and there's no vaccine for it, John.
Yeah, evolution of awareness is not easy. And so discussions like this are important. People like you doing what you do is important. So you are saving lives, and I'm very grateful and appreciative for the work that you do. I hope everyone that you sent the book to, the governors, start reaching out. And I know people who are listening to this, I know for me, it's done a lot for me to raise my awareness. I've had additional conversations with my children, my wife, and this has been really educational for me. I'll continue to do my part, Scott, and I'm looking forward to continuing this conversation tomorrow with you in our 5-part series this week. So thank you very much. How can people connect with you? If they have any questions, they want to talk to you, if they're having an issue, if they're going through this and they need to talk to you, how can they connect with you?
It's really not much simpler than this. You call me or text me at 619-993-2738, 619-993-2738. Go to my website, yourcrisiscoach.com, and email me, or simply get a hold of the book on my website or Amazon. Or if you don't have it in your bookstore, go to the bookstore, knock on the door and say, hey, we've got to get this book here. It's a great tool. It's 3 years of work of my love, heart, and passion and soul. And Judith helped me put it together. And if you get a chance to read it, and you don't think the answers are there, let me know and I'll write another one. But in the meantime, I look, it is almost 5:05 a.m. Who wakes up with this kind of passion in the morning? Because I don't want to go to funerals. I mean, that is why I want you to call me. Let's avoid more deaths. Let's stop losing people to something that's totally treatable, and there is hope and there's help.
Yeah. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate the work you do, and I'll see you tomorrow morning. Think community. If Scott can help you, please reach out. And if you can do something within your community, please do. If you know somebody who would benefit from not only this, but the other 3 episodes we've done this week and tomorrow's, please forward them this. Have an amazing day, everybody. And just, think a little bit more about this. It's important. Scott, thanks so much.
John, thank you.